Monday, June 29th, 2020. And welcome to Cheryl's Monday What's Up. Today's What's Up is going to be mental illness. And there's a reason for that. The reason is that I'm promoting a book. It's called An Imperfect Life Based on True Events by C.A. Morgan. That's me. And the lead person in this book, Magdalena, I had suffer with a mental illness. They called it melancholy at the time. We know it today as depression. And the reason I chose that is because she had 7 years between the time her first husband and child died before she remarried. And in the early 1900s, I didn't think that was real likely unless there was another issue. And since I personally have bipolar disorder, and I've seen it in other people in my family, I think it's genetic, and I think it's very likely that that's what happened to her. So I included that in the book because I felt like I could describe it, describe her feelings, describe her emotions, describe her fears that she went through after this happened. Because remember, this is a girl who had led an almost perfect life, and then she lost it. She lost everything. So I want to talk a little bit about my bipolar disorder for other people out there who may be managing something like this. I am medicated, but before I was medicated, I was a mess. I wasn't always a mess. I managed this disease, if it's a disease, illness, for most of my life. But suddenly a chain of events happened that just were overwhelming to me, and I couldn't manage it anymore. And because of that, I went on medication. One of the questions I asked my psychiatrist was, how do you wake up one morning and you just have bipolar disorder? I mean, I managed my whole life. I went back to school and got a degree. I owned my own business. I was very active and in control. But then I wasn't. And I think this happens for a lot of people. And I also think that people maybe can't understand it if they haven't experienced it. And that's one of the reasons I talk about it today. Because you're not going to understand it. You're not. You can't. You cannot understand the way a mind works when the chemicals are all out of whack. But what you can do is empathize. What you can do is, if you have somebody in your life who is managing an illness like this, recognize when they're having a bad day. Ask if there's anything you can do to help. Ask if they want to talk. Call them. You know, if it's not somebody in your household, call somebody and just say, how are you doing today? What's going on in your life? These things help. But for those of you who are living with a mental illness, I want to give you a couple things that I do to help. Number one, music. 3 hours every day, whether I want to or not, but I always want to. I listen to music. My personal favorites are 60s and 70s music. And if this cat puts his tail in front of my face, I'm going to whop him. But I listen to music every day, and I like 60s and 70s music because that's what I grew up with. But it relaxes me. And sometimes when I'm listening to music, I'm reading a book or I'm doing chores around the house. But that music's always on. The second thing I highly recommend for people who are managing a mental illness is laughing. Lord have mercy, if I didn't laugh every day, I don't know what I'd do. Laughing is the best medicine for whatever ails you. I do not care. And I don't care where you get it. I get mine from television and movies. I like the late night shows. I like to watch Comedy Central. Funny movies. Right now, my big addiction is The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is a wonderful show in case you haven't watched it. But there are things that you can do as well as things you can ask for the people around you to do. So if you're managing a mental illness, if you have not gotten medication or you're not taking your medication, you need to take care of that first. Because what that's going to do is take this high and this low and bring them this way. So you're still going to have highs and lows, but they're just not going to be so spread out. And that helps you to manage it better. So for today, that's my talk. Here's my book. Again, I want you to buy it. An Imperfect Life Based on True Events by C.A. Morgan. That's me. Available at Amazon.com. $12.95 for the paperback. And I believe that the Kindle version is currently available at 99 cents. $2.99 if it's at regular price. But I really think it's at 99 cents. So go out, buy the book. Tell all your friends about it. Subscribe to my channel. And we'll see you next Monday. By the way, have a nice 4th of July weekend. And then we'll see you next Monday. Goodbye.